nothing.
Yeah,
So that's what I think about, T.I.'s now Shayla, Shayla from Tampa, right?
yeah.
Okay, she's going to stay with Kathy in California. So her son, Kathy's son's like, I don't know what's up with that, but apparently she's been watching her kids or something, his kids, while he works.
Mm-hmm.
And Shayla, I don't know, her ex must have her kids or something, but she's don't have her kids. I don't know. So she's gonna stay with Kathy because Kathy has a spare room. So, but I hope it works out. I'm just questioning the son because he's already saying shit, and I don't think that's right. So. But whatever. I hope it works out. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's like 1939 Berlin. The way they follow people around and bring them to court and lie. That's like something that the Nazis were doing in 1939 Berlin, or with the communists. Yeah, there's that song with the communists. That's what there's that song is what the communists were doing in East Berlin after during the Cold War.
Exactly. So. Yeah, exactly. But you remember how some of them survived it? How did some of them survive it? They survived it by hiding out. Some of them kept them in the basements of their home and fed them, and nobody knew about it. Well, that's what's going to have to be. We need a TI. We need a TI community. You need a TI house to hide out in, just like they did back then. Don't you agree? Really? Or am I thinking wrong?
Say it one more time.
I believe that we need to get a house or something far into the woods somewhere to hide out in, basically, and to survive it. You can't live in a city. It's freaking impossible. You certainly can't have a freaking animal and live in the city like I am. It's like hell. Like they're waiting at the doors. They're like, oh, she gotta walk her dog, man. You think I'm thinking wrong or what? Tell me the truth.
No, you're right, huh? What happened to Robin?
Oh, I got disconnected I disconnected everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It just happened that way. I think they're hitting her with directed energy tonight because she's been like letting out with some screams now and then. I don't know. So that's my theory. That is my theory. If you have to apply for Social Security because of the shit they're doing to you, you have to apply for Social Security. How much shit can you take? Honestly, really.
Right.
I mean, I've been put through a lot of shit, let me tell you. I just, fuck that shit.
Yeah, man, that's insane.
I'm not kidding. There were 5 people. There was a baby in a stroller, and they were walking from the main road, which is but everything is closed right now. So like they're not by the lake, and they're walking across an empty parking lot. Like what the frig is that, right? Like they come that way before, so I know it's a setup. Because I have it on video the last time somebody did that, and they literally came on the sidewalk where you could barely fit one person, and she nearly knocked me over. It's on video. I got it on video for doing this girl. I saw them hanging around the street the other day, so they must be gang stalker.
Right.
You know who lives here and who doesn't. You know what I mean? You know when they're walking through, they're not from around here, so you know. But that's why I say, you know, the guy that I know who was a TI, and I don't know, he didn't use the term TI, but he was my neighbor where I live, and he's barred himself in his house. He's got like a little bit of property right where he's at, and he talked the owner into getting a electronic gate so nobody can get in. There's only like probably less than 20 mobile homes down that little area. It's in the middle of Plant City. That's where I was living. I was sorry I left. But the owner, the people that were maintaining it, that the guy left in charge, she came in my mobile home, and my daughter was the one who talked me into getting out of there, little SOB, and shoot, where did I put this? And I couldn't understand why it didn't make any sense to me, and I was like, why they would break in there and take my barber clippers and stuff like that, right? I had a $350 pair of barber clippers, and I had two of them actually. One was more expensive than the other, and they were missing. You know what I mean? And it was clear that somebody went through that stuff, and I had them in these giant bins over my washer and dryer. And so I didn't make any sense. But then when I got talking to her, it turns out that her niece had just graduated barber school. And that the maintenance couple that was living in my mobile home actually before they left, before they moved to the brand new one. And so then I figured out it was them. So, because they had the key, they lived there. So they went in the back door. That's where the washer and dryer was, by the back door. And they went through the bins, and they took the very expensive clippers. And it didn't make any sense why somebody would take barber clippers, right? Because, it's not something somebody would take when I had, Crystal sitting on the coffee table. You'd take that, right? Because Crystal, you can go get some money for, and they took the barber clippers. So I questioned myself, maybe I put them somewhere else. I swore they were up here, but it looks like somebody went through my bins because they don't look the same. And I was right. So even there, they broke into my place. But that's why I think, somewhere real secluded, they need a TI house that, people can go to, live in, whatever. They have to. And I was keeping my dining room set, my washer and dryer, my big TV, all of that stuff. I was keeping for it. And I was hoping that Tim and them guys would, help me out with that. And we could all get together and do that. But it never came out. They just all do bullshit on the internet. It don't help anybody. That's not helping nobody. At least when we get some real bad cases that are on the internet, that somebody's going to get hurt, they're in a real bad way, at least you can get them out of there before something real bad happens.
Right.
That's my theory. Even if they have to leave where they're living temporarily or whatever, there's a lot of cases out there. You don't know. They may have to relocate, anything. And there's nothing there for them. And Ella and all them guys, it doesn't seem like they give a shit about that kind of stuff. Like, they just want to sell books, and I don't know what they do with their funds other than, these little things that they have, these get-togethers, So. But I don't know what people really upsets me. But nobody's doing anything in that regard.
Yep. it's a little bit overwhelming.
What?
All this gang stalking.
Well, what do you think the answer is to this?
I don't know.
Well, that, I'm looking back at the answer that happened back then, and that was the answer. People hid these people out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were hiding out in people's basements and fishing shacks in the woods, and people were bringing them food and keeping them hidden, and away from the main populace. So I would say that would be the same answer now. It's no different, right? It's just a little harder to hide out with, So, there are people on the inside that I believe are fighting for us. But that ain't going to help us because it's so big and vast.
Right.
I went into, I had to go get a money order today in Amscott. The only place I went. And I went up to Amscott. Here's Robin. Let me get Robin on. Hold on a minute. Shit, hold on. Oops, I missed her. How do I get her back on? I just messed up. Shit. Let me see. How do you get her back on? Oh, crap. Oh, she'll call back. So, I went into Amscott. I've been in there. You think I've lived here a few years, right here, and plus where I used to live, I was in there. I go in there once a month, right? So I've been to the same Amscott. You figure once a month for 3 years, 12, 24, 48, at least 48 times, 50 times. And I brought my dog there pretty much every time for the last, how many times? And I go in there, and they were, like, waiting for me, And the woman, I get up to the thing real quick, and there's nobody in there but one guy standing by the other door.